Hi Aquarius, and welcome to your April 2023 General Tarot Forecast. This is Sky coming on to talk to you about your month ahead. Happy April. I hope you're all doing really well and enjoying the Aries season equinox vibes that we have coming in this month. I think it's going to be a very empowering month for you all. Of course, we have Pluto experiencing its first full month in your sign. What a huge deal. Congratulations, Aquarius. You have been selected by Pluto to be sort of a major power source for the collective for the next 20 years, especially once we get into 2024, as of course Pluto is going to retrograde back, I believe in June, and then stay in Capricorn until around November. More or less. So yes, you are getting the first taste, the foreshadowing during April and May of what the entirety of that 20-year transit is going to mean for you. So we have basically the introduction of a new chapter, or we have the first few pages of a very long chapter starting to come in. So definitely an adjustment period coming in April, leading to a greater turning point in May for most of the signs, definitely all of the fixed signs. I was feeling Leo, Scorpio, Taurus, and Aquarius all having major turning points in the month of May, and April is kind of leading us up to that. So anyway, Aquarius, intuitive messages followed by a week-to-week tarot forecast and an extended reading linked below on Patreon. I was already kind of getting into intuitive messages there for you, but gosh, intuitively, experiencing Pluto at 0 degrees of your sign and basically understanding the focus or the dream or the deeper power or deeper meaning of some of the aspects of your reality is basically what this whole month is going to be about. And it looks very giving for you. Of course, it can be experienced in many different ways. I think that Aquarius might actually be a sign that can do better with Pluto energy because it's not such an attached energy. Like, for example, Pluto in Cancer is really hard. Pluto in Taurus is quite hard because those signs are more like attached and more like need a kind of like expectation within their lives. But I think that Aquarius is a sign that can be more detached and be more kind of like willing for things to be fluid. And I would definitely recommend that. Of course, we also have Saturn having just moved into Pisces, and fluidity, flexibility, and the willingness to basically see how things lie or see how things come through and make decisions based on that pending knowledge and kind of waiting for it to come through is really important now. So you don't want to basically, with Pluto and Aquarius, say, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. This is my long-term plan forever. It's good to have, I suppose, like flexible ideas and goals, but you want to give it room to change and room to adapt or evolve over time. I do think that your adaptability as a sign, as a person, will be tested in the month of April. And I think that all the systems in your life, so Aquarius rules systems, any kind of like complex formulas, systems, grids, recipes are all ruled by Aquarius. And Pluto moving into that sign means that our power lies in our systems and in the, leverage that we can generate through intellect, through intelligence, through logic, and through basically like creating well-functioning machines or systems in our life. So that is a great thing to focus on this month, Aquarius. And I'm going to basically adapt most of your reading to that idea. Okay, so being able to have functionality in your life, making sure that things aren't unwieldy, making sure that things aren't malfitting, misrepresented, or like a square peg in a round hole. You want to really measure well and make sure that things fit right. So well-fitting clothes, well-fitting spaces, houses that make sense. I think that housing is a big thing for you and everybody right now. You have a lot of Pentacles cards coming up, the 10, the 8, and the 6 of Pentacles. So some of you might be like buying a new house or taking on a new contract of some kind, and it's supported, okay? Of course, during the first 3 weeks of April, we still have all planets direct, meaning no retrogrades. So it's still a really wonderful time to take on new contracts, but these need to be creative contracts and they need to be different. Okay, so there needs to be a difference in this next contract that you're taking on, whether this represents a physical contract, with like an employer or a lender, or whether this represents more of a spiritual contract, like between you and yourself, about how you're willing to push yourself, your work ethic, the time of day that you're sleeping and the time of day that you're waking up. All of these contracts are good to revisit in the month of April, especially before the third week, okay? Even during the third week, but that is the week when we have Mercury go retrograde, so it's good to have things kind of like squared away. Also, I feel that in this month you will totally walk out of a spectrum of heartbreak. So something that was tormenting you for a long time will end, I think, by the fourth week where the Strength card is coming up after the Three of Swords. I believe that you will finally move on from something that was haunting you for a long time. It will just be over. So that's another thing I'll prepare you all for in April and May. And then to an extent, like all of this year is going to kind of test you as like, can you be done with something? Can you like no longer give your energy to some kind of sadness or some kind of regret? And can you now replace that and transfer that energy into somewhere productive? So let's talk about your week-to-week Aquarius. That's kind of the best thing I can say about you right now. And the most important thing is specifically that. But week number 1, the Death card reversed, rooted down by the Nine of Cups. Okay, it's like you're preventing some kind of closure, or you might be like kind of holding something in a pending phase. Do a little survey in your life. What am I preventing from concluding when it wanted to naturally, like kind of like zombie energy, right? Or like kind of Frankenstein energy, where we have things that needed to naturally end, or we had things that have ended, but we're still like trying to like breathe our own life force into them, or we're trying to prop things up or make things work that aren't meant to really live in our experience right now. So preventing that ending and feeling kind of like powerful, right? Because that is power, isn't it? Like preventing something from ending that would have naturally ended. That's a very powerful thing to do, but that's really dangerous as well. And that's like that's basically like being against like the universe, or against, higher forces, when you're like forcing something that was supposed to end long ago to continue. I think that you will have more luck in letting that go now. And I would try to change the mindset from like, wow, I'm so strong, I'm so powerful, keeping all of this up, when it's like me, like, I suppose Atlas holding the weight of the world on my shoulders. Maybe that's actually not powerful. Maybe that's desperate. Maybe that's kind of like grueling, or kind of also maybe empowering to other people who now don't have to hold that world up, or who now have that world holding up process delegated to that one person who might be you or I, or anyone you can imagine. So starting to get more integration into, and more teamwork, more assistance. Like if something's having to be held up, please don't do it by yourself. We're getting into a very destructive energy for people who do everything themselves, or for people who like that really empowering independent DIY culture that started to come out in like 2015. Okay, that has turned to shadow ever since 2019, and then now we have the climax of that shadow point here in 2023. It's all a cycle, and we'll kind of go back over the next 7 year, these move in quarter returns of Saturn. Over this next 7 years, we'll kind of like, maybe venture more with integration and teamwork and collaboration. Then that can go into shadow, and it comes and goes. The waves go in and out. But you might want to have more help, and also like try to not prevent things from their natural life cycles. Okay, week number 2, the 10 of Pentacles are down by the 8 of Pentacles. Beautiful. You know what you want to do by the second week of April. You know where you want your energy to go. You know who you are. You know what you're doing it for. You know maybe your ancestral context, or you know what the ancestors have accomplished, and how to also still benefit from that, even in kind of like very spiritual ways. Okay, so it doesn't even mean like inheritance, or like something physical, though it could for some of you. You could be receiving inheritance, but there's something of like something your ancestors have done that you can benefit more from, that you might not be taking into account. Also, like using that energy, or allowing that energy to help you do what you actually want to do. And having that solid, sturdy foundation by the second week is good. Third week, the Empress rooted down by the Three of Swords. Okay, 2-3 energies coming up there in the third week. So that's actually like a triple 3. Very cool. Angelic divine protection coming for you in the third week. You could have a test Because the Empress and the Three of Swords can be like, you know, I'm waiting for that person to call me, like unrequited love, or like expecting or needing or placing yourself in that subservient or submissive place to someone else's like whim. We got to get out of that, Aquarius, and instead I think that you just need to do what is yours and allow the life cycles that are yours to be yours, instead of again placing those expectations onto other people or breathing life into other people's life cycles that isn't maybe natural for them. So manipulation, control freak tendencies will be very rigid during that time and start to fall away by basically accepting that like maybe not hearing from that person, or maybe having that breakup, or maybe having that falling out is a divine protection. Did you ever think of that? That's been one of the most incredible lessons I've learned as a reader, doing this for almost 7 years myself now. How much I've seen like people get like traumatized and misplaced through loss or breakup, when in reality that's going to be like one of the best things that ever happened to them. So try to start seeing things from that perspective if you can. Week 4, the Six of Pentacles, rooted down by the Strength card. Okay, stronger contracts, stronger agreements, stronger commitments. On the other side of it, some of you are also maybe taking relationships to the next level. Marriage or commitment or monogamy could be coming in for you in the 4th week. Also, I feel regardless of relationship statuses, that you have to have the strength to assert. Okay, this is good. So simple, but so golden for this period of time. Can you have the strength to assert what your terms are in your own life? Like in the contract of your own life. And this goes so much deeper than things like, you know, work contracts or, you know, leases or mortgages or any of those very physical kinds of contracts. Can you assert your terms? Or do you have to just kind of fold to other people's terms? As a side note, I definitely foresee like a lot of very kind of like tyrannical contracts coming about during this time, and people are going to be tested about like, can I maybe like, you know, assert my needs on and my well-being or my rights in this contract instead of just being imposed on by another person. So you might have some kind of test, and that can come about in non-tangible ways. Okay, so in unspoken ways, like by allowing oneself to be cheated on in a monogamous relationship, we have indicated to the universe that we actually don't uphold the sanctity of our own spiritual or one-on-one relationship contracts, signaling further that those who maybe want to take advantage, or those who want to be in like monogamous relationships and then also like have multiple relationships at the same time and have that sort of cake and eat it too, will now kind of see us as a, you know, potential supporter of that sort of vice within them. So this is where things are really at for everybody. Aquarius are kind of like nitty gritty stuff like this, where it's like, wow, I feel like it's my love for that person, like why I want to stay with them, even though they've like abused me, or even though they've like really held me in contempt of my own values. Like I feel like it's my love that's keeping us together, but in reality, maybe it's some kind of like submission to some type of like really negative force. So try to distinguish these things, and understanding also, you know, greater powers like I can be separated and still have love. Maybe it is a loving action to do something like a separation for some people. Or I have to really express my terms and maybe issue ultimatums. I do see ultimatums in the 4th week of April. And all throughout 2023, almost like every day for everyone, because the universe definitely in the year of 2023 is like kind of seeing what people will assert about their needs or not. It's a very big testing year, kind of like the Justice card. That's definitely a card that I'm seeing that I didn't foresee like at the end of 2022, but as I'm coming through 2023, I'm seeing like we have to think a lot more about the Justice archetype and about judgment and even like the Hierophant and like sort of the Emperor as well. Very masculine energy has really come up, and I think it's also kind of like the Sun, Mercury, Jupiter, Chiron conjunction in Aries kind of triggering up that energy, you know, the Hierophant and the Emperor and the Justice card. So it could be like transient, but I think that it's going to stretch out, and people are going to solve a lot of their own inadequacies or their own like a, preferring to have that kinship or that sort of surface level commitment, while the real meat and potatoes of the situation is very like shadowy and dark. But there's like that's like the moon card as well, like deceptions or false realities. So anyway, Aquarius, I want to talk a little bit more about this in your extended reading, which I'll link below. I'll talk more about ultimatums and about really asserting who you are now and how you're trying to move forward. And we'll get more cards. Come check it out, Aquarius. The Patreon service is awesome. It's linked below and in the center of your screen. And let's go do that now. Have a great month. Bye.